Hi, I am Solomon Compaore. I'm a trained physician and a public health professional. And I call myself a humanitarian public health specialist. I'm also a leader in the field of diaspora empowerment and how that diaspora should work in contributing and giving back to Africa. Because it's my belief, my very strong belief, that our freedom, that the development of poor nations is definitely in the hand of the diaspora. And they should make sure that play that role and make sure that, this bondage and this dependence on foreign funds, not necessarily that it has to stop now, but it has to be the trend so that in the long term, we are also able to count on our own funds for our development and for our sustainability. Grateful to the giver of life and whoever has created it and grants us that life. Yeah. The reason is that I think we are actually coming out of a big crisis. We're still in that crisis. Yeah. We're not completely out yet, but many people have not made it through. Yeah. Many people have stayed in this, COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah. Millions have died. But today we are here and having the opportunity to enjoy, traveling again, visiting these countries. And as you know, you and I were coming from very far, coming from Australia, and I'm coming from the US, originally from Burkina Faso, and we are able to visit Malaysia today. I think many people do not have the opportunity to do that. And another important thing that I think that we cannot take for granted is that anywhere that we are right now, we can work with anybody on earth. We can be located here in Malaysia or in the US or in Australia, but still have the possibility to impact people's lives, in resource limited countries such as those located in Africa or in Asia. And what I was initially saying is that technology has given us that opportunity. Today, you can be sitting here and organize a meeting and comment things, pretty much from any part of the world, as long as there is internet connection and they have the right devices, to connect with you and brainstorm about, solutions on how to change people's lives and make impact. That is that, and I think that you and I, as members of the diaspora of Africa, but residing in the Western world, it is a great opportunity that we have because not only do we live in wealthy countries, but we also live in places where we can have the type of education that we're looking for. Being that you can work and study. I mean, it's all up to you. Whatever that you set your mind to, you can get it done. And I think us, as African diaspora, having that opportunity, we should take advantage of that and not benefit from it only for ourselves or for our families. We should make sure that we take all these, opportunities in devising solutions to make sure that we give back to Africa. How are we going to do that? I think that's the big question, because I'm sure that many have thought of it in the past. Many have tried to do it. Maybe they did not go far, but I think we have the opportunity as diaspora nowadays, because we have technology, because we have that education, to actually sit, think, brainstorm, and come up with ideas and propose solutions on how we can contribute. Because we look at our countries nowadays, it's the same situation going on and on for many years. Poverty, war, the lack of education, I mean, economical development, anything you think of, we're still at the bottom of all nations across the world. I don't think that this is fair, and I don't think that we should just sit and enjoy our personal privileges and not do something to make sure that this changes at some point. This is why at this time I have engaged myself in the process. I have gathered a couple of people, a couple of collaborators with whom I think it is good that we strategize in bringing some ideas on how to gather as a diaspora. How do we organize ourselves here and involve people back in our countries of origin to make sure that we put in place a very good network of people who can think and people who can also take action in putting those strategies into implementation in our countries of origin. And as I was telling you initially, it's probably not going to be an easy task, all right? It will take time, it will take energy, we can fail at some point, but I think the future is ours, right? The future is for us, and if we set our mind to it and we make sure that we plan well and plan accordingly and plan smart, we are going to make it happen. And that there is no doubt about it. We don't have to look for solutions or results that are going to make impact in the next month or in the next year. We should think long term, because I don't think any nation has been able to build in a few decades. Look at Singapore, city country. It has been chased away from where we are right now, Malaysia. And I think the initial plan from Malaysian is that this country is going to die off and then come back and beg to reintegrate. But it didn't happen that way, because the fathers of this country have thought, the fathers of that country have made sure they put everything together to make that nation become what it is today. It's a reference in the region. It's a reference globally. So why can we not do that? It didn't happen in a year, it didn't happen in 10 years. It takes a lifetime to build a nation like this. And I think it's critical that we as a diaspora, we play our role in getting our countries out of the situation where it is right now. And now is the time.
Okay. Just a second question. Because I've seen a lot of people like online and also in person, they really encourage the repatriation for the Africans who are in diaspora to try and get back home. I think a while back ago, I'm not sure whether it was the UK as a whole or England, they said that they didn't really need foreigners in their country. And therefore also I think South Africa has told most of African nations and Africans to stay in Africa and build Africa. What's your take on all these sentiments from these various nations, and including South Africa?
I think this is a very important question, and discussing this question is definitely a daily occurrence, whether in Africa or in a developed nation who are, hosting, those migrants coming from poor countries and from Africa. And I don't know if it makes much sense. To me, it does not ring anything in my ears, right? Because this migration issue, it has not started now. Migration has been a secular phenomenon. Migration has always existed, whether during our ancestral times. People have always moved to look for better opportunities for life. People have always moved to look for water or to look for green grass for their flocks. And it's a human nature to always go wherever there are better conditions for his livelihood. And this is not going to change anytime soon. And those people who are in those developed countries asking African to go back, have it not been because of Africa, would they have been where they are right now in terms of state of development? Maybe not. America has built on the blood and on the sweat of African.
As slaves.
As slaves. You look at European countries, take France for example, who is slaughtering African in those French-speaking countries right now. They have built on the blood, on the resources of African. So if they ask us to go back, how do they think they can compensate what our ancestors have done for them? Will they be able to pay that back?
Good point.
I'm not sure if it makes sense. I think all we can do right now, and this is a personal opinion, I'm not speaking as a staff of any institution or a former staff of any institution, but my personal take is that what should be encouraged is definitely a migration that is regular, meaning a migration based on normal processes. If a country requires an individual from a different nation to acquire a visa before coming in, look for that visa before you move. Do not try to enter illegally because it is risky for you, it's risky for your family, and we have been seeing what's going on right now at the borders of Europe with Africa, with all those migrants being killed because they try to force the gates and get into Europe. I don't think this is what we need at this point. I think we have enough resources in Africa. We have, what it takes to organize the youth and have them stay in Africa and develop the country and also benefit from their efforts in these places.
That's a good point, but how do we do that to make sure that our youths are employed, our youths are safe, and also our kids are safe? Because a lot of the time when these youths are running away from their countries, it's because of economy. They are trying to make their life better so that they can be able to support their family.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make this better so that maybe it may not happen now or tomorrow, but for posterity? What would you advise?
I think this is a very big and a large question, and I think answering to it probably draws on so many things, right? And I believe that solving this situation of the youth migration to other countries illegally, I think solving the issue of organizing the youth in Africa so that they can take advantage of whatever resource we have locally is a very seminal question. And I think it has to be addressed at many different levels. At the individual level first, right? At the individual level, given that everybody has to take knowledge or has to be aware that the El Dorado is nowhere, but wherever you try or you take the effort or you take the decision to invest in, correct? I mean, if you invest the same strength and the same energy in cultivating a land or setting up a business in Africa. If you put all it takes to make it work, it's probably going to work. You have all the chances that it's going to work. So individually, we should have that mindset that if we make that same level of effort wherever we are going to make it. We are going to make it happen. I mean, it doesn't mean that we should not be looking for better opportunities elsewhere. It's normal, as I said. It's normal that you look for wherever you can make things better for yourself, whether in terms of education, in terms of earning money. If you can, travel to a country where there are better opportunities, go for it, but just do not do it illegally. That's one. Second, it's at the family level. I think every family should make sure that they are organized properly to make sure that they only birth the number of children that they can actually take care of. If your financial means or your social status does not give you the opportunity or does not give you the means to take care of 5 children, you should limit it to whatever your hand can reach. If you can handle 1 child, go for 1. If you can handle 2 children, go for 2, and so forth. That way, you have the leverage to send them to the right school, have them get the right education. And I'm not saying that education is the panacea, but education is definitely something that would open a human being mind to help him get where he, is destined to be. And I think that's important. So families should make sure that they limit the birth to, the level where they can handle it. They should make sure that they send the children and prioritize education, and always make sure that they convey to the children the message that they can make it happen locally. They don't have to go to a different country. They can make it happen locally. I think this is a message. When the children grow with that, they are definitely not going to always have that mindset of thinking that the best is elsewhere. They are not going to grow up with the mindset that it's better in somebody else's house, right? Make sure that they get it, that they can make it happen here, and if they set their mind to it, it's going to happen for them. That is at the family level. At the society level, I think it's the same. How do we build social solidarity? There might be a couple of people in a given community that have hard time, making the ends meet. How does the community as a whole come together to support that person and make sure that it gets or it lives up to a minimum standard that will allow the children to reach a level where they get the right education, and also, make sure that they get what is needed for their, feeding, education, and their posterity as well, right? I think that is important, solidarity at the social level. But when you go higher, governmental level, I think that's where the big issue is. The biggest issue is there. Our leadership has, tremendous work to do. Our leadership has tremendous work to do because it appears that in African countries, in our countries, leaders are not responsible, right? It looks like they are not accountable to their populations. Because I'm a leader, I do whatever I want. Because I'm a leader, I do not have to give, an account, or I don't have to be, how do I say that? I'm just losing the word. But how do we make sure that there is a certain type of how do you call that word? I totally missed it. It's accountability.
Accountability. Okay.
The leader has to be accountable to the population. That is important. If they don't feel accountable, it's not going to work, because all they're here for is, how do I, make it happen for myself, my nuclear family, or my extended family, or my region, or my household, or etc. But it has to be, if you are a leader for everybody. So I think we need to make sure that we find mechanisms of building strong institutions where the checks and balances are set, so that when there is a certain leader who is not doing his work, those mechanisms should trigger and get him out of there, or keep him accountable for whatever he has been elected for, or what he has been put there for. And I think if we have the opportunity and the chance to do that, we definitely will have the chance to have leaders who are there, who are really, in charge, and really worried and concerned about the well-being and the welfare of the population. So if you have a leader who is there and is not concerned about these aspects, means that he's not going to work for the good of the population. So we have to have clear plans for the youth in all sectors. Clear plans for education, clear plans for health, clear plan for economical development, and today we're talking about technology. This is a tremendous opportunity that the youth can use and build themselves up. And I was telling a young guy yesterday who I think graduated with a degree in computer or network security and stuff like that, and complaining that he has no job. I was like, at this time, you cannot complain with such a degree that you are not getting hired. What are you doing yourself with your two hands? Because this is work, this is a job that you have learned. This is a working skill. You don't even need somebody to hire you to set up a small business, advertise it, and then say, these are the type of services I propose. So, and I think all that comes to how our leaders, how the government sets the tone. I think governments need to set the tone, right? We have to educate our youth. We have to let them know what are the opportunities, show them the way. If you are trained as a nurse, you don't need to sit at home and wait for somebody to hire you. If you are trained as a computer network, specialist, you don't need somebody to hire you. The business mind is missing, and this is what we should strive for. And to conclude this, I think government should really take their responsibility in stopping, these massacres that are going on at our borders. People dying in the desert, people dying at the borders with Europe in the sea. It's ugly.
I wonder if there's any African leader who has commented about it?
Well, I do not recall any of them commenting about it, but I do know that the African Union has probably put up a statement condemning it. But, I mean, does that change anything?
Yeah, it doesn't.
There are still thousands of people, at those borders there, still waiting for this same type of opportunity to cross the border. It's not about, making a statement or making a declaration. It is a long-term process that we have to engage now to make sure that our youth do not go and die there, because all these people who are at those borders for months, years, this is like, energy waste. Imagine if they were back in their countries, they could be used to be involved in things, production, agriculture, anything that can actually benefit our countries. So I think we are here crying all the time, but we are not doing anything to change that situation. And this is what hurts. This is what hurts.
Your parting shot.
Say that again.
Parting shot.
Okay, so thank you very much for this opportunity. I think what is also important to mention is that we should find ways to depart from those collaboration that binds us with certain countries that are not in our favor. The fact that our money is actually dependent on some other countries, or us as countries in Africa having to pay some type of taxes, colonial taxes. Those are killing our economy. It's killing our freedom. It's killing our self-expression. It's killing our youth. We should find a way to get rid of it, detach ourselves from it, and take bold steps to make that happen. Or else, in 20, 50 years, 100 years, we'll still be having the same discourse as we're having now. And we shouldn't. And we have the means to get away from it. Somebody has to be bold and courageous enough. And if you decide that you want to be a leader, you have to have that gut to make those bold decisions.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
If someone wanna get in contact with you, are you okay also if we share this?
Absolutely. If you are interested in getting in touch with me, I think my email is going to be associated with this video. And it's going to be an email with diaspora seeds in it, diasporaseeds@gmail.com.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Much appreciated. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.